And I'll chop up this video for little bits on TikTok too, YouTube, Clapper, whatever I'm on now. I forget. I got a CGV on TikTok today for using the hashtag transphobe.
I can't because
Cannot.
don't we've had this conversation.
It's the dumbest fucking app that ever lived. I swear.
I can't. I can't.
Were you able to appeal it? I hope.
No, you can't appeal
That actually
hashtags.
makes me so
It
we've
just
had this conversation because the thing is, actual slurs, like when it's against people like me, they don't give a
mhm.
fuck.
No, not at
Hard
all.
R, bitches. Like hard R is all I have to say. And that's apparently not a violation.
Not no.
Child, that be doing things to me. I can't. I just
Cannot.
can't.
I'd be sitting there like, yeah, I don't miss that.
No, I
I
can't.
don't.
All right,
No,
because she's not on it anymore.
I went on a live on Clapper the other day and I was like saying words like unaliving and pew pews and schmazzies and stuff like that. I'm like, oh no, no, no. I can say Nazi.
Machis.
I can say fucking Nazi, kill Nazis, pew pew not
It's
shoot Nazis
happening.
type
mean,
stuff.
I
No. But there was this live. One of my friends was doing a recap of this live that she saw on TikTok where the guy was like saying for every galaxy that you give me, like every galaxy gift that you give me, I will say the N-word. And like so
What?
for every galaxy that was given,
Wait,
you would say the
what?
N-word. Yes. This is
No, I
this
hate it here. I
super
can't.
tooth
Yeah,
like
that's
Yo,
toothpaste, polar bear,
I
bird
hate
shit
it
white
here
dude.
so much. That's unhinged.
Yes. It's like, oh God, it's fucking stupid. I
I
hate
hate
it.
it here. I
Yeah.
can't. I'm gonna cry. I
That
cannot.
live didn't get taken down, but my friend's video about it, sure the shit did.
That's wild.
Yeah,
This shit,
sure
I
did.
can't. I can't. I'm just gonna not because I'm
every now
actually
and
gonna
again.
cry.
Every now and again, I'm reminded of oh, what is his name? Childish Gambino. Like, this is America, and I'm like, yep. Oh, yeah.
No shit. Yeah.
Oh, Danny Glover.
Yeah.
All right. We already got Jessica in the YouTube live. Hey, girl, what's up? Smoking hot.
For some reason, okay, there we go. I
Ooh,
couldn't
got
figure
those
it out. I was going
earpods.
through it, but okay.
Listen, I know a music producer has fucking headphones around, laying around.
Oh,
Can I hear you?
What?
I'm not a producer. Remember, we've had this conversation.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
A
a
music
writer,
maker, writer. There is Morgan. I knew we were
songwriter,
gonna have Morgan.
and a composer. I'm not a producer.
Sorry. I'll get it
I
right next
wish.
time.
I'm not cool enough to be a producer. Why isn't this working?
I can hear you now.
So, like, these are my studio headphones, but we're not doing all
All right.
that. But
Uh,
yes, I do have studio headphones for studio purposes as a songwriter. But we're not doing all that. I'm trying to just fucking put up my. Is Morgan here?
Morgan is here. Yes.
What's up, yo? She's here.
Check
Yo.
this out. Wig, no wig.
Hold up. I can't see
Wig,
shit. Hold up. I can't see you. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go, 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 go. Wig or no wig? Go ahead. Let me see. No wig? Okay, put on the wig.
wig.
Hold up. Hold up. Let me see the wig.
Here she is. We had to take out the passion twist because they started tugging at the root. So, and my
Is
hair
it a
is,
glueless wig? Yeah.
oh, nah, it got little clamps.
Oh, got the. Okay, go, go, go. Did you pluck it?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. All right. All right, we're about to start going live on
Hold on. Don't go live
GC3R.
until we figure out this wig situation. Hold up. You can't be doing my girl like this.
It's true.
We're
Yeah.
already live on YouTube,
I
Abby.
like wig. I like wig. We are too much crazy. Bruh. I like
Okay.
wig, but you're gonna pluck it a little bit next
All right.
time.
I am
But
about
it
to
looks good. It
connect to
looks
the
good. I
radio
like wig.
station,
I like wig.
and then I'm gonna put our theme music up here. So,
Brit.
all right, connecting to the radio station now.
Okay.
This might be a little loud, so check your ears. All right. Welcome to Hurricane Girls. I am Sheila Chappelle. We are back after 2 weeks off, holiday break. Hope everybody had an amazing holiday, good Christmas, and a good New Year. We are live on GCPR Ghost Claw Productions Radio, home of the Villains Guild, where all voices are important, and especially us bitches here tonight. We are also live on YouTube at Hurricane Girls, and later after the show, we will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I am joined by five gorgeous femmes here tonight, and I am so happy to see each and every one of you. First, going to introduce our special guest for tonight, former model, current author extraordinaire, Abby Rosmarin. And I did say that
Oh,
right. Yes, I did.
yes, you did.
Oh, thank God. Yes. Um, Upcoming book, The Year of Dating Myself.
Mhm.
And that we will talk about tonight, amongst other things. And we welcome you to our lovely show here tonight. I do have with me my other Hurricane girls here. I'm going to just start from my left and work my way around, starting with Hurricane Cimarron. How are you tonight?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm okay.
Not too bad. All right. And then all the way from New York, Hurricane Evey, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How is everybody tonight? It's hella brick here in New Jersey, New York. It's actually like 20 degrees. I'm not happy about
Mhm.
that.
No.
My very tropical ass is not happy about that. But other than that, we're good.
All right. And below me, Hurricane L. How are you
Hey.
tonight?
Oof, cold and a little tired. I'm in Alabama, so it's not quite 20, but it's yeah, polar vortex is a whole thing. And I've been up since 1 a.m. So
Fun times. And all the way
insomnia is fun.
from the large state of Texas, Hurricane Morgan. How are you tonight,
Hey,
darling?
I'm cold. I'm throwing off. I'm sending the cold air back to y'all. Y'all can have it.
Yo, H-Town is hella cold right now.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
listen,
Like like my brother
and
and I were on the phone and it's cold. Like I don't even want to go to Houston right now because it's actually just as cold as it is here. That's crazy.
and
Pinky is still thawing out. I just came from the grocery store. So I'm about to cut this thermostat up from 76 to 80.
How?
none of y'all have it as bad as me and Abby do. I'm in Ohio, and
Mm-hmm.
Abby's up there in Massachusetts, right?
New Hampshire,
New
but
Hampshire, right?
Oh,
yes.
hell no.
No,
It is a
No.
balmy 19
hard
right
pass.
now. I don't even want to know what
Hard
the wind
pass.
chill is.
Oh my
Crank
God.
up the big violin.
Hell no.
Well, we are the Hurricane Girls. We are the Daughters of Darkness, the Sisters of Rage. We are the Goddess's Curse on mediocre men, and we are nature's happy little accidents. So it's good to be back. It's starting in January of 2025 here with us. We've got a lot of great shit coming up in the next coming weeks. We will have next week, we'll have Valerie Campbell, the key set costumer from Gilmore Girls and the author of Valerie's Cat Ice Cream, on the show with us. On the following show, still firming this up, but I have got a tentative commitment from April Ajoy, who is the author of Star Spangled
Mhm.
Jesus. And we will be talking about her take on Christian nationalism and how to deconvert from that. And then at the end of the month, we're going to bring on the salty historian from TikTok, who is going to introduce her book, Women Make History Better. But we are all about the women here. We are all about female femme voices. We want you all to know that this is our space here. Any men who want to watch, please learn something. Any women who want to watch, we're here. Let's bitch. So, on to our guest here today, Abby. Tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to those who might not know you.
All right, so hi everybody. I am Abby. Again, former model once upon a time. When I was in living in Boston, got to do a lot of commercial modeling. I've currently a writer and have been basically my entire life, but on a more professional capacity since about 2014. I've written for all sorts of websites from Thought Catalog to Huffington Post back when it was called Huffington Post, and now it's, HuffPo, and who knows what else it's called now. I have a various assortment of books that are out. Some are published through Thought Catalog Books. Some I published myself. The one that I am going to be releasing in July is my first more mainstream, like, Simon and Schuster is going to be shuttling that one out, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, I live in the frigid New England climate, which right now really just questioning my life choices on that one. Um, but we do have some gorgeous mountains up here, so take the good with the bad.
So the last name again. I've always been able to pronounce it, but not everybody has been able to. Rosmarin, right?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, it's good to have you on. You and I have known each other for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Going back a little bit, we met during the Robbie Harvey drama on TikTok. We've kind of
Um,
talked since then, and then there's been drama, and then there's been drama.
mhm.
So while we've got that elephant in the room, we do want to acknowledge that and acknowledge that you're no longer on TikTok anymore,
That's
or
correct.
social media altogether because of some drama that happened. Yeah, I mean, God, girl, you take a cruise to Croatia and then all hell broke loose, right? So, I
Literally
mean,
day one. Day one is when everything started.
right. And
I haven't heard about the drama, but I have to ask, Dubrovnik?
Yes, we that
Okay.
was one of the cities that we got to
Okay.
visit. And at the end of the day, the Cliff Notes is that it was a toxic friend group, and you know what? I'll implicate myself on that. I was as much a part of that toxic dynamic as everybody else. Um, the irony is I cut ties with that first friend because I realized that she was spin doctoring on me. Wasn't the first time that she had spin doctored on me, but it was the most egregious. And to watch that person then launch a 6, 7, even 8 month long campaign to skew being a bad friend as a public safety concern, something that has to be, broadcasted to the world because I'm just that much of a danger to society, you know, that lets me know, hey, my gut was right. Any doubts that I might have had that, hey, this is someone who spin doctors on me was gone after that kind of campaign and that kind of devotion. My problem was, I was too goddamn loud about it.
Like,
But
you were no more loud than anybody else. Let's be real. Everybody else was putting hell loud. Just to give everybody who doesn't know the drama here, Abby,
yeah.
how many followers did you have on TikTok? Like a million, something like that?
Definitely not as,
Not a
I wasn't
million?
cool enough for a million, but it was like around 400, 450.
You were about half a million at least anyway. I'll give you that. Okay. One of the other ones has a million followers, over a million followers now. And so when we say it was loud, there's a lot of people involved in, going back, and you're talking about a lot of people with a lot of followers and multiple sides and everything like that, and they all sort of targeted towards you.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a hard triangulation to watch there. And
Mhm.
I know you and I talked a lot throughout it all. Never affected me. Um, but you know what? Things like that happen, and like you said, you took the initiative to implicate yourself. So all of us are saying that we could have acted better in that situation. We're good. We move
Mhm.
on now to the year of dating. You're dating yourself. This is the part that
Yes.
everybody's come for. I think here is
Mm.
the part of, the concept even of the year of dating yourself. So
Mhm.
what led you to that concept? Like, what brought you there?
Yeah. So it was kind of a multi-step process where the first was kind of this moment in the immediate aftermath of leaving a really, really bad relationship. It was very toxic, very emotionally and psychologically abusive. And I had this moment of, like, how did I get here? And not just that relationship, but, I'd been just, doing this really terrible pattern of getting into a relationship, getting my heart broken. Oh, that's it. I'm swearing off dating. I'm done. I'm done. I'm just going to be single. I meet a guy within 1 to 2 months' time. Oh, he's worth breaking that for. This is my Prince Charming. He ends up being even worse than the guy before. That bottoms out. Oh, that's it. I'm going to be single. I'm done with men. I'm done with dating. Lather, rinse, repeat over and over again until this situation where I was depleted of all of my resources and I had to go like, I keep doing this every single time. I keep doing this. I keep swearing to be single. And immediately I find a guy and I realize that part of the reason why, it would get worse each time is because I was getting a little bit more, I don't want to use the term hysterical because that has been used against women like
Mm,
in such the worst ways,
Since the
but
medieval times.
yeah.
exactly. Like women were literally getting carted off to asylums for hysteria. But there was a desperation of like, well, this is going to be the love that makes all of that past worth it. And when they start showing those red flags, you start dismissing them because like, no, 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 this is going to be the one that fixes it and it's going to make all the past okay. And as a result, you stick around situations that you should have exit stage left, like, by the first dates. Um, and it's like, okay, so I figured this out. What do I do with it? Oh, should I just be single, but like for real this time? I've done this before. This is again like my fifth time around this stupid merry-go-round. Um, and then it was just this moment of like real kismet where here I am. It is New Year's Eve. I'm on my phone, like just passenger side in my friend's car, and I see a promo for my favorite band, which is Guster, by the way, in case anyone's ever heard of
Nice.
Guster.
You're my
Yes.
satellite. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, bless. You are my people.
You're
Yes.
in our age range
I'm
here.
sorry, boo.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I'm always a little bit surprised when anyone outside of New England knows about Guster because yeah, because they're very well known in the Boston area, but after that they get a little bit more like indie darling. But I see there's a promotion. Oh, they're going to be in, like not even a half hour's drive from me in like March. Oh, this is perfect. Let me go see. I'm going to get some tickets, and I know some friends who are really into Guster, and we'll go together. And the thing is practically sold out. There's just one seat here, one seat here, one seat here, and I'm about to like just call it like, well, that's one concert I'm not going to. But I had this little voice in the back of my head going, yeah, when was the last time you ever went to a concert by yourself? When was the last time you
Mhm.
did anything by yourself? And that was like a very sobering moment. Like, never. I have been so romantically codependent. Um, that I couldn't remember the last time I had done literally anything where I didn't have a partner or a date as a tag along. And I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna take myself out to that concert. And I buy the and literally this is New Year's Eve, buying the ticket as we're getting back to our Airbnb. And that's when I had my light bulb moment of like, yeah, I'm gonna take myself out to this concert. I'm gonna literally date myself. That's what I need to do. I need to devote this upcoming year to taking all of this energy that I would pour into the guy until I have nothing left to give. And I'm going to pour it into myself. And I'm going to go on those dates that I used to go with the guys. I'm going to take myself out to those adventures. And it literally, here I am on my notes app, New Year's Eve, and I'm typing up like all the things that I want to do for the year of dating myself. And literally, New Year's Day was like, yep, here's day one of the year of dating myself.
That's awesome. And I think we can all relate to the cycle. Like you
Mhm.
mentioned before, the cycle, you get into one, it goes shit. You get into you say never again. I'm currently right now I'm in a no boys period of my life. It's the election, no, I'm 4B all the way. But we're going to those stages, but then later we're just like, well, that would be, yeah, it would be nice to, have, a little dick again, it's like, or something like that. Lisa, I don't even want to look at you right now.
What?
No, this is the way you looked at you rolled your eyes
Sorry.
at that one there. But no, I mean we've all been in that, have we not, girls? We've been in that cycle of we're done with this, right? We're just going to be single until, oh hey, something catches our eye. So say what you want to say, Lisa. Have you been in that cycle before, or as our resident ace,
I
are
mean,
we talking
yeah, I was gonna
past
say I'm
you?
ace, so no, I don't sit there wanting dick as you put it.
I mean,
But yeah, I've been in romantic cycles where you're just like, oh God. Like, so yeah,
yeah.
I know the cycle you speak of, just not the dick part. Go on.
Well, I mean,
If it's
but
anything,
it can be anything. It can be girls, boys, whatever. It'd be less like, sometimes you just are climbing a fucking wall, or
mm,
sometimes you're just lonely. Like you want the companionship. It doesn't even have to do about sex. It's you get to thinking that I'm alone and I need something to fill that hole in my life because I'm so
Yeah.
vastly codependent. And that, yeah. What is that? What is that, Evie?
oh, I was gonna say, if
I
it's
know.
anything, as somebody who's
Hey, bro, in general.
It's in the chat. Should it be on the air?
No, literally the last part of that. No.
I mean, I said what I said after getting out of my relationship, and I meant it. You need to have a bag at this point. Like, sir, I need a millionaire, not a thousandaire, not a six figure. I need seven figures and up. Sorry, not sorry.
Right. I mean,
So
we have our fair share of lesbians in here. We're missing one of them right now. Hurricane Alicia is out sick today. She is there in the chat there. And by the way, chat, what's up? Daphne, what's up? Jeff, what's up? Alicia, how are y'all
Hi,
doing over there?
Daphne.
hey,
Hi,
Danger
everybody.
Pro Daphne. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Jeff.
Daphne. Oh, Daphne-san. Hi, Daph.
Yep. we're
Yeah, no.
familiar. We're familiar with the concept. We've all gone through it. We've all been like, you know what, I'm better off alone. But I like the
No, like
Better
concept
off
here.
alone.
this goes back to what I said. And Abby, I'm so sorry. This is gonna sound super dark. I'm okay, so I should like preface this comment with the fact that I am technically considered terminally ill. I'm chronically ill with a fatal condition. All right. I cannot wait. Like, I cannot wait, you guys, to die alone.
Oh,
And I know that sounds so fucked up, and Morgan's dying laughing because she knows my thought process. She knows my stupid, like, you, she knows. No, honestly, like, not having to ever worry about how anybody else feels, except for my, like, direct line, like, my children is all I want in my life. Like, my children and my direct family. Like, the fact that I never have to, like, deal with anybody else ever again having to deal with, like, that's a beautiful thing to me. So, dead ass, I cannot wait to die alone. It is going to be a beautiful thing.
So you are
I
having
was
the
married for 23 years. I was married for 20 plus years, you guys, like, and to the
mm,
wrong person, to the person that I personally should not have been married. He's a great person. He's a great human. We've talked about him. Like, he's a phenomenal dad. I actually am very glad that I procreated with him because my kids are perfect. My kids are perfect because they're half him. However, I should have never been married to this person. So, like, I cannot wait. Dead ass, I cannot wait to die alone. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. So I feel you on that, Abby. Like, the whole, like, just taking time to yourself. I am in my 40s. And this is the very first time that I get to just be on my own for myself and all about myself. My kids are all grown ups. They're all legal adults. Every last one of them. They're all in college. It's a beautiful thing. And I think taking space to be able to find a time to fall in love with yourself is a very important thing. We've had this conversation on this podcast before, how the very first 40 years of my life were dedicated to other people, and that's perfectly okay. Like, I don't resent them for that. I love that my children got the best part of me, because my 20s and my 30s were probably the best part of me. Like, I don't think I can physically give much more of myself to anybody else at this point in my life. So they got the best part of me. They got me in my glory days. They got me when I was, able to bake 12 different types of, 15 dozen, 12 types of cookies a day for 12 days of Christmas, like bullshit like that. You know what I mean? They got me when I needed to throw them parties and hand decorate 100 cookies. Like, they got that part of me. Whereas this part of me I'm not beat for that. I don't have the patience. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. So I'm glad that they got that when they got that. But 100%, like, I think it is so important to, as a woman, fall in love with yourself. And I think
mm,
that's where I am now in my 40s. Like, I will be 42 in a few weeks, and I am finally falling in love with who I am as a woman. I'm loving who I am as a person. I am discovering parts of myself that I never even knew were there, because we as women, especially if you're a mother, you tend to give parts of yourself away. So at this point in my life, I get to just be me, and I get to live for me. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, I am in heaven. I am so happy on a daily basis. Like, I am living. I am chilling. It's a beautiful thing. But, that's not for everybody, and that's okay. Like, and that's perfectly okay. But for myself, like, Abby, I am all with you on that. Like, I am taking this time to fall in love with myself and to date myself. I literally, like, I take myself out, you guys. This is a thing that I would encourage every woman in their 40s to do. Go find your favorite restaurant, whatever you love, like, whatever your favorite meal is. My personal favorite meal right now currently is this really dope ass, so fucking good. So fucking good. Mushroom risotto, truffle risotto in
oh,
it's over in the finance
yes.
district. It's I'm not gonna shout out the restaurant because they don't sponsor me. So sponsor me and then we'll talk.
Mm.
But it's a dope ass restaurant in the financial district in New York City. Bro, the best fucking truffle risotto and the best wine pairing that you could ever have. So, like, I take myself there anytime I'm in New York. I take myself there and I sit myself down and I have a date with myself, and it is a beautiful fucking thing. So yeah, my birthday's January 30th. Y'all were asking. I'm an Aquarius 100%. I'm so sorry. I get it. I know it's a lot. Aquariuses were a lot.
Girl, you're fine.
Um, we are. And I am very Aquarian. If you know me, and, like, Sheila, you know.
I know.
I am
Yeah.
very Aquarian. But yeah, like I think it's so important to take time to date yourself. I think it's so important to take time to find out who you are. And I know, Abby, like we were talking about the elephant in the room. I know that you like there were some things, there were some issues, there was drama, all that fun stuff. I think after drama, as somebody who is no stranger to drama, because I've been on the internet as long as the internet has been alive. And again, I'm aging myself because I've been on the internet back when we used to call ourselves bloggers, not influencers. I was a blogger back in the day. Back in the fucking day, bitch. All right. I had SEO to worry about. We had to write a 2,100 words to 2,400 words, a fucking blog post. Okay. You can get away with 500 nowadays, just so y'all know. Okay. But I literally have had women in the industry turn their backs on me. I've had women literally conspire to my demise while I was dying in the hospital. Because that happened. I was in the hospital. I had coded 4 times. My heart had stopped. I was clinically dead 4 times. And while this was happening, I had women in the industry trying to like take me down. So like I am no stranger to that. But I think the most important thing that we can do as women because unfortunately drama happens, you know? And the internet, I feel like back in my day, we could go home. Like I think about this all the time. My kids got to go home. Like I used to go home and not have to worry about like people talking about me. Right? Because like that wasn't a thing I had to see. But my kids, like they would come home from school. They're all in college now. But back when they were in high school, they would open the phone up and like the drama was on their phone. That shit followed them home. Like I can't even wrap my brain around that. So that's what the internet does. It compounds that. It makes it so much worse. It makes it so much more inflammatory, so crazy. Because like in your hand is everything that you need to further said drama, right? But I think one of the most important things that we as women can do is to take a moment for ourselves when we find ourselves in the middle of whatever. And it can be all on us. Like we can be the cause of the drama because we certainly can take accountability when that's the case, right? But we do need to take a moment to find who we are. And I think like that is, we take anything away from conversations in general, as somebody who's in her 40s, is take a moment to live in your own truth, whatever that is, like whatever the hell that truth is, but to live in it and to really just find who you are as a human being, because like we give so much of ourselves away. So it's important to just take a little bit of time to find out who we are and what matters to us, because at the end of the day, that's all we have is us. Right. At the end of the very day, like my kids are in college, like half the time I'm home. They're all home right now because they're on break. But for the most part, I am in my house alone 24. Like this house is just me and the birds and the dogs, right? And the turtles. That's it. So at the end of the day, I have to like myself because I'm going to be looking at myself 24/7. I'm not going to be looking at them and like they're in college, they're gone. So we have to find out who we are as human beings and love ourselves. I think it's very important to date yourself. Like you said, I want to get back to your book. Like, I love that you're taking the time to find out who you are and to love yourself and fall in love with. Like, I would love to hear more about what brought you to that. I would love to hear, in your book, what are some things that you discuss, because I know it's not out yet. So we haven't read it yet. Can't wait. Like, I know it's not out yet, but we're gonna get there. But in the meanwhile, like, I would love to hear what are some things that you discuss, how you're finding yourself during this time that you've decided to be celibate, what you're doing to enrich yourself and what you're doing to hopefully be a better person when you get back out there, or not just as yourself to like, because again, it doesn't have to be bettering yourself for other people. It's bettering yourself so that you know what you're worth. Because at the end of the day, I feel like that's another thing that we have to talk as women, like we tend to want to be enough for other people, but sometimes we're not enough for ourselves. So like, what does that look like for you, Abby? Like at the end of the day, this book, what does that mean to you? You know what I mean?
I was
Yeah.
giving you a chance to respond there. Go ahead.
No, I love it, and I love the energy and the passion, and yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that I've been contending with, for a while is the fact that like I was such an external referencer. Is the world is whatever people tell me it is. If someone's telling me that wall is red, well, I guess the wall is red. I don't have enough security in my own sense of self to be like, no, 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 that wall's purple. What are you talking about? Um, and I know for me, when I would date anybody, I would just kind of morph myself to who they were. Like I was the cool girl
Mm.
passage in Gone Girl, where it's just like, oh, he's a gym rat. Well, now I'm a gym rat. Oh, he's really into. I'm trying to like think of actual. Oh, he's really into audiobooks. Oh, now I'm into audiobooks. Like I was always like their likes are just my likes now. And, that really just messes you up, especially when things start bottoming out, especially when you realize, oh, this relationship is not what I thought it was. Like, and not even necessarily the guy's a bad person. It's just this is not the kind of relationship that's gonna be sustainable for me. And you find yourself digging your heels in because like, well, but if I leave this, who am I? Because I've melded myself to this person for who knows how long at this point. Um, so I know a huge thing for me when I started listing out what I was going to do for the year of dating myself was, okay, what scares the absolute piss out of me? Like, well, going to a restaurant scares me to death. Traveling completely by myself scares me to death. And then even just things that were like, oh, that might be fun to do. And I might have just never thought to do it by myself because I'm like, oh no, I'll wait till maybe not even a date, maybe like some friends, but let's deliberately, let's go to this. Like going to like one of those axe throwing places. I was like, I've always wanted to try out with axe throwing. Let's go do this. Um, and, I did my best to try to organize it as much as possible because I know me and I'm ADHD brain. I'm gonna have all the ideas all at once. They'll bottleneck and then I'll collapse. So it's like we gotta parcel this out like full on Excel spreadsheet and everything. Um, and that the biggest thing was hey, you're gonna be uncomfortable. Lean into it. Be uncomfortable, do it anyways, which I know is a butchered paraphrase of the actual quote of be scared and do it anyways, but um those were the really big things. And if anything, post all of that drama, which I will say, like one of the biggest things that I feel now that for the younger generations who have had to grow up with social media, I'm not that far behind. I am 38, closing in on 39. I gracefully didn't have to worry about this stuff in school. Um, Even being the nerdy outcast, you go home. Yeah, school, it's staying at school. It doesn't come with you. Whereas when everything went down and, people were finding any and all ways to get in contact with me and let me know all the ways that I should end my own life or how they want to end my life, I understood on such a visceral level, like this is such a violation. Like, oh my God, like, but that is those times where I really had to be like, if I externally reference, I'm going to collapse in on myself because there are so many people who are championing for me to basically not be on this planet anymore because they've decided they know who I am as a person. Um, but also getting off social media helped me take a moment to go, well, yeah, I've been lucky in that I got to go to school without social media. But as soon as I was an adult, I mean, Facebook was open to all the whole public by the time I was a junior in college. And like forget about like status updates and all that. And then all of a sudden we have Instagram and Twitter. And I've been living my entire adult life through this lens of social media. Like to the point that I remember, especially when I was on Facebook, I would go to some event with friends already thinking about the witty one-liner I'm going to use when I check in at, this theater or this concert venue and tag these friends. Everything was through that lens of, still referencing out. Like I need these people to I need to post about my life so it can be validated by people liking the post. What happens if I'm living my life and it's never going to be posted about? I am doing that not because, you know, 25, 100 people are going to like it on my Instagram,
Mm,
today, but because it's going
Mhm.
to make me happy. And that was honestly a needed shift because
mm,
even when I was, the thick of the year of dating myself, I was still online. And so a lot of it was just getting posted online. And, this was a chance to go, no, this is really about myself and for myself now.
Right. It's easy
And that was
to
needed.
replace the relationship with the public, the people who are your followers, is that's easy to also live through them too. There
Mhm.
are lots of people on the TikTok or on, the other apps that do what they do for the clicks and the likes and the follows, the clout,
mm,
and it's easy to do. I've found myself falling victim to that sometimes is, if I post this, will I get this reaction? Am I going to get this piece of dopamine for that action? And then,
Mhm.
going along like that. Cimarron is our resident licensed therapist here. You've been hearing a lot about the codependence and, all of what we've been talking about. What's your thoughts?
There's a lot of different things. I think just kind of thinking about like what I've kind of experienced over the last year. Just a little over a year ago, I lost my husband suddenly, and we'd been together for over 30 years. And I wouldn't say it was codependent necessarily, but it when you're married to somebody 30 years, you're certainly enmeshed, right? You have things that you just do together. And so the idea of doing things on my own was certainly like, what do I do? What do I do now?
Mm,
You know, and that idea of like you were talking about with like I like things because this person liked them, or I took
mm,
interest in certain things because they did. Now that doesn't mean for me like that I didn't know what my own interests were, but it's more a matter of like, for me, it was more a matter of like, do I want to go initiate that interest without someone to share it with, right? Because if I don't have that person to share it with me, like, I might as well just sit at home, right? So that idea of dating myself makes myself kind of the center of it, and getting to know myself again, which I like. And that's kind of, I think, maybe something that I can use for myself this year in 2025. Part of my goal for the new year was to kind of go from surviving to thriving. And so, this kind of fits in with that in terms of finding who I am outside of that person and being kind of as bold as, Abby is by being able to go out and do those things and just say, screw it. Yeah, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird, but do it anyway, you know, going out to dinner myself, maybe travel or do something on my own, you know. So yeah, I think there's a lot of validity to that. Um, and I wanted to piggyback on something else too, just from a therapeutic level too, on when we talk about social media. I agree with Evie is that, when I grew up, because I'm level 52. I just turned level 52 a couple days ago. Um, and I am part of the generation that like I came home from school. If I got bullied at school or teased at school, I came home. I didn't have to worry about it, you know? And I think for people that might not understand the severity or the complication behind the difficulty with being on social media, it's one thing if you have one negative comment here and there, that's fine. But when you're bombarded by maybe somebody that has literally hundreds of thousands of comments, and every time you log in, even a fraction of those people saying all these hateful things is gonna mess with you mentally. It's gonna fuck with you. And you're gonna have a lot of self-questioning, a lot of self-doubt. And I think it takes a strong person to say, you know what, I need to break out of this and I need to step away from it, for my mental health. Um, because I used to work with kids and they have a lot of that issue. They get bullied, and at the school age and whatnot, and it gets overwhelming. And so I think as adults, we kind of think it's a kid issue sometimes, right? That kids get bullied. Well, as adults, we're supposed to have that mentality of, I can take it. It's just, stuff online. Well, when it's one or two people, sure. But when it's hundreds of thousands of people and it's all day, every day, it's still bullying, and it still
Yeah.
gets to be too much.
I can definitely understand. I was married for 10 years. I didn't know how to not be married when it ended. That was a kind of a thing. I was like, okay, how do I be alone? I'm so used to having this other person here, and I didn't know what to do. So at the end of my marriage, it was obviously, tripping and falling from one into another, going from one to the next, bedroom to bedroom, relationship to relationship, and that turned out to be toxic really fast. One thing I can I can congratulate myself on was I took that time as a time to transition. I was like, okay, I'm trans. I know I'm trans. It's time to fucking do this. And that was part of my affirming myself was being like, okay, let's do it, bitch. You know, you've been wanting to do it. Let's fucking do it. Now you have a chance to do it. I'm not married. I am not beholden to anybody. I'm not in a relationship at the moment. Let's fucking do this, you know? And that, I mean, I think affirmation for ourselves comes in a whole lot of different, a whole lot of different packages. Like, Hurricane Alicia down in the chat was saying that she is in the first year of her 5 year single vacation. Like she decided, you know, she calls it her single vacation. And she's like, you know, this is my time that I have blocked out that I've said for 5 years, I am not going to be. I mean, Evie's got the rest of her life. Alicia's got 5 years. We've all got different things blocked out. But, you know, just spending that time to get to know yourself, to heal yourself, to and I just love the way that you've conceptualized it though, because it's different than the way I've thought about it. Because you talk about dating yourself, and I think, gosh, what does it take to date yourself? You know, like what does that mean? The Guster concert was pretty crystal for me because it's like, yeah, that's something you like to do. It's something you would normally do with somebody. And you know what? What the hell? Why not go? You know? But people do like, do you find that people when you go to do these things by yourself, like go to the movies, I would go to a theme park by myself. I'd go to Six Flags or Cedar Point or something by myself. Nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that. They're always with their family. Evie's pointing at herself like, yeah, you do that.
Yeah,
I do
I do
that
think about
shit.
myself all the time, but that's just because I'm an Aquarius.
I go to the movies by myself. Like I went to see Wicked
Yeah,
by myself.
I
And
love.
I'll be
I would
honest with you,
actually,
with movies, I need to be by myself because I need everybody else to shut the fuck up. That's not a good date.
oh, never watch a movie with
Right.
me. I talk through them,
Yeah, no, you
and
can't
I can't
come.
Me
focus
too.
on them at all.
You
So,
can't come, Lisa, at all. No, I'm leaving you home. But yeah, I mean, like, do you find that people react to that weirdly? Like sitting down at a restaurant, eating a meal by yourself? Do you find people kind of look at you like you have three heads?
Done
You
it
know, it,
before. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go right ahead, Morgan.
No, Abby, go ahead.
I found that it definitely depended on whatever it is that I was doing. And I mean, there were definitely sometimes I remember the very first time I sat down at a restaurant and I had the four-person table to myself, and it was very clear that the table that was like diagonally across from me were like kind of glancing over like, is anyone actually gonna show up for this girl? Like, what's happening? Um I remember there was I took myself to actually see Craig Ferguson his comedy special when he came to Boston, and I remember being really nervous because I was in this like box seat area, and it was like the literally the third wheel, the third seat, and then there's going to be two more. I'm like, this is going to be so obvious that I am alone, and the people just sat down. And they didn't even really acknowledge me. And it's like, oh, you don't even care I'm here. This is wonderful. I'm not even being perceived. Score. Um, so I like to lean into that most people are too involved in their own shit to care about you, this random ass stranger who's doing something by themselves. And if they're in a place where they're going to judge me for existing, for existing at a concert because I'm by myself, then that's speaking a lot on their stuff and not on me as a person.
I think that's true. But yeah, I've noticed that when I go into like a comedy club or something like that, and I'm there to see the show by myself, like when I went to see Trey Crowder, Liberal Redneck, people are looking at me
okay,
like, okay,
crowd.
yeah, like hi Miss Chappelle, how many in your party? And I'm like, hi, just me. And they're just like, does not compute, does not compute. Oh, okay, okay. And I don't know. Morgan, you had something to say. I'll let you go have the floor.
I have a lot of questions for Abby.
Let's go.
But before I begin, Abby, I don't know what was said on TikTok, but I can honestly say just by sitting here listening and researching you at the same time, them hoes were jealous. I said what I said. They're jealous. No, they're jealous. And honestly, I'm mistaking you for one of them girls on America's Next Top Model. I see why them hoes are mad. That's another thing. You can add that to the check mark. That's
I
number
tend to
one.
agree. Yes.
Number
Oh,
two.
good.
Number two is I'm over here sipping Chick-fil-A away. Um, what made you so I saw that you went to school for and your major was English. What made you fall in love with English? Was it the words or was it stories? Tell me about that.
Um,
Hmm.
it was a little bit of both. I mean, I've been writing basically since I could. There, one of my like cutesy stories to tell at cocktail parties is that when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I would write stories, but since I was not all that literate at that point, I would literally just scribble lines and be like, "Look at my stories." Um, and, I found that, I mean, I have such a phenomenal love of being able to just play with the English language. And this kind of gets into the like, is this really about me or is this about like someone's jealousy? I know one person decided they didn't like me because, well, she uses big words to make people feel dumb. I was like, well,
Jealous.
okay, that's okay. Like that,
Yes,
it's
how?
very interesting. That thank you for letting me know what my motivation is. But
Right.
but I'm just so in love with the English language. And then likewise, just I was that book nerd. I would have a book by my side at all times. Like I would be that loner kid, off to the side reading her book. And I feel like you can learn so much through stories. I'm currently in school for clinical psych and like you learn psychology, sociology, culture through the story and seeing how the characters interact with each other and what's going on in their own heads. I knew going in like that whole like Avenue Q, what do you do with a BA in English? Like it's like I get it, I get it. This is, underwater basket weaving with extra steps in the eyes of, what you're supposed to do with a college degree, but I don't know, I fell in
Hmm.
love with that subject.
Yeah.
I love that.
What else? What happened?
No, Evie said, I love that.
I just said I love that because journalism was my minor and I learned English because I had to learn how to speak it as a language. So I actually learned by reading. Um, I taught myself by reading because ESL was a joke in the 90s. It's still a joke now. Um, but yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And I in my day job, one of the side things that I get to do is write for academia, so for education and EdPub, which is anything like publications for education purposes, so like textbooks and all of that. But like what you're saying, like that's how I feel as a writer too. Like I absolutely love that. I can definitely 100% relate to what you're saying. I think, and also I loved Morgan. I love that you asked that question specifically. Like, was it the words or the stories? Because I think the stories are what draws us to the language. But I think also just as somebody who speaks it as a second language, I think the actual words are very interesting too. Just because English is one of those interesting languages that is
It's
like a little
very
bit of everything all at once. That was my bird laughing. I don't know if you heard my bird laughing, but that was my bird laughing. He laughs just like me. That was chicken. But yeah, I think one of the ways that we are able to express ourselves through writing is completely different than we do by speaking. So I love that you've taken your love of the language and just actually used it to be able to tell your story and to tell the stories that you're telling. Because I think writing in general these days is kind of a lost art. So I love that that was your
yes.
major. Number one, I love that that was your actual major because anybody's a writer these days.
Yeah, but
Even
not
if you didn't
everyone.
actually major or minor in writing, right? So I love that that was your actual major. I think that's very cool
Yeah, but not
as a
everyone
nerd,
is a good
as a
writer.
book nerd.
Right. Not everybody's a good writer, like Morgan was saying there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
they're not like some people are not able to convey the stories and also express it. Now, I'm a talented writer because I do love stories as well, and I also love history. So that's my thing. My next question for you, Abby, is while we are in school doing English, I'm currently in school, but my major is management accounting and analytics. So where did the modeling come in?
You
Good question.
know,
that's
that
true.
so I'm 5'10", so and that means I would
Mm.
get one of two
That feels
questions always.
self-explanatory. I'm 5'10".
And the
It is.
stallion. Keep going.
And people would ask like, "Oh, do you play basketball or do you
That's
model?"
what I
And
was gonna
I
say. The
Mhm.
athlete in me and the basketball coach was like, "Yo, you play ball, right?" Like, that's what I was gonna say as the athlete.
and unfortunately, like I have no coordination whatsoever and definitely had no faith in my physical abilities, especially when I was younger. Um, But when because I lived just outside of Boston growing up, but then I was living in Boston proper for school. And there was just this moment of like, you know what? Rock and roll. Like at minimum, I am surrounded. Like here's Mass College of Art and Design right there. They have a whole fashion wing. There's the New England School of Photography. Like even if I'm just working with fellow like students, like why not? And then on a whim, I was like, you know what? Let's send some photos off to like there's like three major agencies in Boston. Let's like send them off and see what happens. And I got signed, and it was just like, okay, you know what? It's one of those like fun stories to tell when I'm older. Like, yeah, and this is the time that I did all these like modeling things and the hijinks that happen as a result.
Listen, if y'all have seen the pictures and the promos, have you? Listen, that was hot, right? Okay,
Seen it on Wikipedia.
so she's all like, "That's just something I did for a little while." No, it was fucking hot. That's what
No,
that was.
I seen her pictures on Wikipedia, and I
Mhm.
instantly thought about what's her name. I forgot what cycle it was, but she was the one that had the snaggle tooth, and and her facial expressions were very similar. And I could just see her going to like go-sees here and traveling overseas there. Uh, Abby has a beautiful bone structure.
Mhm.
You.
Sim, you had your hand up earlier. What did you want to throw in?
Oh, I was just when she was talking about when Abby, you were talking about you always had a book in your hand, you were always reading and everything, and talking about how, people sometimes said that, they you would use big words that made them feel uncomfortable. It resonates with me because my husband always had a book in his hand. Like for the 30 years I knew him, he was always reading every different kind of thing. And every now and then he would use a word that I was like, and I would look at him and I go, you need to use smaller syllables because I have no idea what you just said. Like it didn't happen very often, but it's like I could relate to that. But I mean, it's never that he made me feel stupid. It was just like I don't know that word, and but it challenged me, and it made me kind of go, okay, well now I know that word and I know the context, and so I was always kind of growing and learning with that. But there was never a time that he didn't have a book in his hand, and he was known for that. He'd go to work, he'd go on break, and people would see him outside having a cigarette and reading a book, and it was just was always his thing. So I can relate to that when you're talking about that kind of just devouring things and absorbing all of it because yeah.
Well, speaking of a book in the hand, do you know when the book is going to be available for pre-order?
I am not sure about the official pre-order. I'll have to check in with my editor on that. I know that things have been getting uploaded to the databases and what have you. It is going to be officially on sale in July of 2025. Oh my God, July of this year. I'm so used to talking with my editor and my agent about, of 2025, and now it's like, no, it's this year. So I don't know the exact date of when pre-order will be available. It might even be already. I'm gonna have to double check on that. There's been a lot of spinning plates over the last, yay many months. I'm sure that actually in one of the emails she mentions it, and uh, um, ironically, my reading comprehension for emails is abysmal.
Well, there is an entry for it. I know on Simon and Schuster's website. I don't know if the major chains have any links for it yet, but if you want, no, if anybody out there and they were asking about this in the chat earlier, if you're looking for a chance to pre-order the book, just keep an eye on The Year of Dating Myself on Simon and Schuster's website. Keep an eye on the Hurricane Girls Facebook page. We will announce it there when it happens. Um, so yeah, we will definitely get that information out to all our listeners here. We are almost at the top of the hour here, so we will be going into our second hour. I do want to take a moment to reset the show, remind everybody of where they're listening to us at, in case you've forgotten, had a gummy or something like that, and you're starting to be a little elevated. You are on GCPR.live, listening to Villains Guild Radio, Ghost Cloud Productions Radio. We are the home of everyone's voice. We are definitely here to provide amplification for everybody, and that includes women. And here we are. We're one of two women-led shows on this station. So, and hopefully we'll have more. So, you are also watching us on YouTube at Hurricane Girls. We would be watching on Twitch, but fuck Twitch, because Twitch is a bastard and won't let me stream there. YouTube almost was a total bitch to me today too, but YouTube, you're okay now. If you want to follow each of us, you can do that for everybody except for Abby, because Abby is off of the socials. But yeah, check us out on TikTok. All of us are pretty easy to find. And yeah, we are the Hurricane Girls. We are the Daughters of Darkness. We are the Sisters of Rage. We are the Goddesses Curse on Mediocre Men. We are Nature's Happy Little Accidents. I'm here with four of six of my fellow math, not me. I'm also I studied English, math. I did not have the gummy, Evey. I did not.
Why was that so hard for you?
Hey,
I'm the rest of the pothead. What is happening?
Sober for a year and 10 months now. Okay?
Like, what is going on?
It has been a long 7 days.
She tried, y'all.
Listen, it
has been a long 7 days.
I'm a bit psychic. Ready. I'm a bit psychic, and I'm picking up off some vibes in New York right now. So,
oh God, please, no more Jesus.
There's always vibes. There's always vibes, y'all.
No more nonsense and rubbish, Jesus. We have enough, especially me.
We will on next week's show have Valerie Campbell from Gilmore Girls, and we will talk about Gilmore Girls. We will talk about various other productions she's been on, and we will talk about ice cream, because she is an ice cream artisan, and that's going to be fun and hopefully delicious, because she may teach us how to make a little bit of ice cream. I don't know. And we'll talk about all the Hollywood stuff there. We'll be having lots of great guests coming on, but we do have an amazing guest with us tonight, Abby Rosmarin, my friend, your friend now, author of The Year of Dating Myself, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the next hour until the show closes here. I appreciate you staying with it. I know it's late here. We are on the East Coast, but yeah, the internal chat in here is lit as fuck right now. I was gonna say something and I forgot. Evey, you're rubbing off on me. What's going on?
I would just say, all my texts is an hour away.
How is it always my fault, bro? Like, how is it always my fault somehow? Like, I just be sitting here minding myself, and it's always somehow my fault.
I need to project my own deficiencies onto you right now.
No projections, no codependency. That's no.
We H-Town Houston girls. So, like, for those of you that don't know, I actually grew up in Houston. So Houston is my hometown. But we're just in the chat, we're just discussing H-Town. We're just talking about some Texas shit that unless you're from Texas, you don't understand.
I would not get it.
And if you remember what happened on New Year's Day.
And that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, the individual is from my hometown and graduated from my
Y'all,
school.
literally from your school, because I saw that shit from your
Oh, you're
school,
talking
bro.
about the
I'm still a little lost.
The terrorist.
No, but the thing happened in Louisiana. Guy is from
Yeah,
Texas. Okay,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't get
He's
it
yeah,
from her
her
at all.
hometown.
hometown.
yeah,
From her town. Literally.
yeah.
He went to school in her same school that she graduated from.
I haven't
Same
followed it at all,
school.
other than to know that something happened in New Orleans, and I'm like, nothing bad can happen in New Orleans. Please, dear God. Like I
Oh, you didn't
love
Right?
that
hear,
city,
you
and
didn't read about it? It's been all
I
over the
I
news.
read about it, but I've been staying very much away from it, and
Me,
like
sis, you don't even want to
this.
know.
Okay.
I was in, yeah,
Yo.
kind of. I mean, I'm a lot closer to like Nashville than I am to New Orleans, but I feel like
Mm.
my heart is a lot closer to New Orleans. I'm like, nah, no, no, don't come for New Orleans. Like,
That's how I felt when I heard about it.
yeah, no.
Yeah. And by the way, they're in the chat talking how about how I am not a mattress. Yes, I have
What did they
very
wait?
much
And wait.
anti-mattress.
I'm sorry. I heard I am not a
Girl.
mattress, and I'm like, I don't see that in the chat.
Not a mattress, honey.
She,
I
she said
still
Sheila had the gummy.
I still have my domain there.
Sheila is sober. Sheila
Yeah, I
is
know.
not me. I am not sober.
It's not you.
Sheila is sober.
I
I
legit
am
don't
not.
see the word you're looking.
I'm
Hold on.
sober.
What word are we using? Because I don't see it.
Math
Thank you.
stress or something like
We're in
that. I don't
YouTube. We're
know.
looking at the chat. We're
You
looking
don't
at
do.
the live.
Or else
The
Oh,
it
live.
is.
thank you. I'm
The
looking in
stream.
the.
We're looking at the stream.
I'm looking
We're
at
looking
the
at the
other chat.
stream.
Yeah.
See, I
Now
can't
we were
see
looking at
So
the stream.
all
see the
right,
screen.
since
Let's get
since we're all
back.
trying to
Let's get back
center
because
ourselves here,
it's the
you're
top of the
updating.
hour.
It
So
is
it's
the
the
top of
top
the
of the
hour.
hour. So we're gonna get back. Hello, everybody. It's the top of the hour. We are here with Abby. We love Abby. Abby's killing it. She's telling us all about how to date herself for a whole year, which is something that we all really should think about. We all should consider it.
Well,
Those of us that are dating ourselves by accident, it's happening anyway. Um, but maybe it should be intentional, is what we're saying. So
yeah.
yeah, Sheila, go ahead, take it back.
I think it should be intentional. I think that's
Gang,
something
gang, I did
that
that.
you did.
Gang, gang.
I have a question, but I don't know if it's for Abby or Sim, and I don't know how to word it. So bear with me while I try and find words. Okay. Um, so I'm in a relationship, but I have made a decision not to talk about that here because or anywhere online really.
Except for
Just
right
because
this moment.
except for right this
That's a
moment.
very smart
Because
decision.
because I think that things should stay private. Like some things you just
Oh,
are right. Like there shouldn't be the spilling of tea. That's yeah. Um, but and I've known him for a while and whatever. But I guess I had a lot of years where I was dating myself. And occasionally other people, but I had gotten out of a long-term relationship years ago. And I too remember like the first time you go out alone, and it happened to be an Olive Garden when you hear your family, and sitting there and just being alone. But honestly, that was kind of addicting. I was like, yeah, this works. I don't want to be around anybody. This is awesome. Um, and I guess that's so I did not study English. I studied science, and that's a whole thing on its own because I very much think that certain people in my life wanted me to marry someone who did science. And I was like, yeah, men seem like a liability. I'm going to go do science. That seems like a more straightforward way to the ends, like, right? Like, just not needing anybody. Which is, I don't want to say an overcorrection, but yeah. Um, so actually I kind of find it difficult to not to be with somebody, but to like, I'm not talking about it because it like I'm just like, well, I don't know. We'll table that because I don't know how to word that. The other thing I was gonna say was that even when you're in relationships with other people, you should continue to kind of date yourself, to continue to like stay in touch with yourself and to know yourself. Because I think anybody can kind of get lost in like the relationship, and I do think that relationships are two people, and like you're with somebody and you're doing a lot of the same things together. But I also think that maybe dating yourself for a year is good practice for continuing to date yourself um, as you transition into like
Right, right.
relationships.
I mean, because you can easily lose yourself in a
Yeah,
relationship. Like
She can.
you can forget who the fuck you are
yeah,
in a relationship. I've done that just in simple dating people. Like when I broke up with them, I'm like, who the fuck was I thinking I was, this whole
right.
time? Like I'm Sheila motherfucking Chappelle. Like I was
He
half a
doesn't.
baddie for this person. Like no, I'm a full ass baddie. Like, it's like I know that's a little bit further than what you want to say here, but like that yeah, I mean I get what you're saying here. Is that it is good to practice that our
Yeah,
own within our own lives, because even within our own relationships, if we're with somebody, yeah, the thing that I was taught growing up was that you have, one person and another person, and they come together and make one person. Fuck that shit. Fuck that.
that's wrong.
Like, no, we're not making one person. We're two people functioning together as a relationship, as two people complementing each other. If one person disappears, then what the fuck good is it? Why do I need to be in this relationship if I'm only one person? And I think that's where you're talking about codependency can happen really
Mhm.
Right.
easily. So,
And
I mean,
also, I'm sorry.
that's okay, Morgan. Go ahead.
No, after when you're done, because I love your disposition as always. I want to chime in with her book, Loving Yourself, and what I'm taking, what it is. It'll be great, but continue.
No, I'm just saying, when you go out and do things for yourself, like the conventional wisdom is, why are you out without your man, or why are you out without your lady? Like, what are you doing? Why are you out here at this bar drinking? Or why are you out here at this restaurant eating? Or why are you out here existing without your
Mm,
partner? And it is like, I mean, that's an adjustment for society,
mm,
I think, and it's definitely not what we've been taught growing up. Would you say, Abby? I mean, like when you get to these things in your book, um, and I'm not gonna have you spoil everything because we do need to have something left to read, but like, I mean, did you find that amongst yourself? Did you find yourself just finding that you fucking enjoyed yourself? Like, and you just wanted to be by yourself like in this forever? Or like I never want to do this again with another person, or maybe this is good with another person.
I th the big thing, and not spoiling anything, but the real takeaway was I really do enjoy my own company. And yeah, there was, some learning curves to navigate around, but having that time to really like nurture myself and realize like I don't have to wait for somebody else to do the thing. I can do these things. Um, I was like, okay, if I have someone come into my life, I don't like I have all of this happening for me now, and I'm so grateful for what I was able to build. I'm not gonna let just anyone break through this barrier now. Like they gotta really add to my life in order for me to ever want to be like, hey,
mhm,
look, I've been dating this girl, this beautiful lady for, yay
Hmm.
many months, yay many years. This is where the bar is at, and if you can't meet me there, you can see yourself out. And that's not like, worship the ground I walk on kind of deal, but realizing
No,
that
but
I
that's
enjoy
okay
my own company.
too. It's
I
okay to
mean,
worship the ground you walk on if it's your own.
this exactly like, and so it really has become a case of if someone is ever going to be back in my life again, they've got to hit that threshold because, especially beforehand, when I didn't really have any self-love and was not getting, like respect or attention or anything like that, it'd be like, well, it's not like I deserve any better. So, I'll feast on these scraps, to borrow a little bit
Mm.
from, I think, was that
Mm-mm.
Fiona Apple or Alanis Morissette? I'm blanking on which one.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I was pretty sure it was Alanis Morissette, and then the last minute I was like, oh shoot, what if it was Fiona Apple? But
I got you. I
uh
got you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, but now being in that place of, especially like right now
Mm,
where I think of the things that I'm taking myself out to and the events that I have for myself, there's even a part of me that goes, geez, if I have someone in my life, I'm not going to have as many opportunities to do this. So
mm,
again, that's a high bar now to clear, if you want to be brought into my life like that.
Like,
Um,
I like being with you, but do I like being with you more than I like being alone? Hmm.
Right.
right. So we've always heard that potential, I don't know, I'm gonna use the old word, potential suitors are competing against other like men or women or whatever.
mhm.
But the way you're saying is no, no, the fuck you're not competing against every other potential suitor out here. You're competing against my fucking happiness. Like
mm.
if my happiness without you is going to be greater than my fucking happiness with you, then what the fuck did I need it for?
That part.
What's this? Yeah, I mean, what is
Right.
this even about? Like, they're not people who are coming at me are not competing against, I've not got, this person competing against this person. They're competing against me, like
Mhm.
in my happiness with being alone.
You're a pretty
Yeah.
freaking amazing person.
Well, thank you. You are too.
Yes. Yes.
Tim, you
So
got your hand up. What's up?
So, I think, the idea, I think automatically a lot of us, when we date, we kind of, without thinking about it, we try and just kind of make ourselves smaller to
Mm,
kind of match with the person that we're with. And I think a lot of times it's not even a conscious decision. We just kind of do it automatically. And that's part of why it's so difficult when those things don't work out, because then we kind of lose ourselves. And I think, Abby, you were talking about before, like, not knowing our own likes and dislikes, and it reminds me of the movie The Runaway Bride, right? When
mm,
Julia Roberts is in all these different relationships and marriages, and you know
Richard Gere, right?
right. And
Mhm.
Richard
Okay.
Gere says, what kind of eggs do you like? And she has no way to answer that question. She doesn't know, because every relationship she's been in, she's just gone with whatever her partner ate.
mm.
And so, you know, she kind of had to go through that metamorphosis of kind of what are my own likes and dislikes, because I always did this to make this person happy and did this to make this person happy.
Hey, I live in Alabama, but just as a statement, I hate grits. Go on.
Grits are awesome.
I
Listen,
love
No,
that's a
grits.
whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing.
they're
But
not my
especially
thing.
salt and pepper, no
right,
Right?
sugar.
absolutely, little butter.
Cannot make grits better.
So when I worked with
Maybe I can
teenagers,
show you.
when I worked with teenagers, it was very common that, when I would see them, they'd come in because they had a recent breakup and, they were struggling with it. Um, and so, part of what we worked on was like, okay, part of the reason that teenagers at that age, I think, gets like it hits them so hard is because they're at that age where the brain is kind of hardwired to want socialization. So they throw all their free time and all their energy into whoever they're dating. And so they don't take time for themselves to do the
Mhm.
things and kind of figure out what their likes and dislikes are. So when they're not with that person, it's like they don't know what to do. They're not hanging out with their friends, they're not doing other things. So it's really devastating for them because they don't know what they like to do on their own independently. So I spent so much time working with teenagers trying to tell them, kind of like, what Abby's talking about, is just kind of get to know yourself, spend time
Mhm.
doing things that you enjoy doing, because what's going to happen is then it'll help you better prepare for the next relationship in terms of what you like, what you don't like, what you're willing to accept, what your own standards are, and things like that. So I think it's a really crucial idea with your book coming out. I think it can help a lot of people, because I think not a lot of people really think about dating themselves. We have the idea of, if we do things for ourselves, then we're selfish. And it's like, well, no, that's not what self-care is. It's not that I don't care about other people. It's just that in order to kind of fill someone else's cup, my cup has to be full first.
Right,
And if
right.
I don't take care of these things, I'm not helpful to someone else, right? So I need to know, what's important to me first before I can be that person for anybody else.
Yeah. Morgan, what you got?
Okay, so for me, when I hear loving yourself, it actually took me back to when I was being picked on. Um, Honestly, your book is going to be great. I can already tell. Don't be surprised if it goes viral and it hits number one. I'm just saying. So
And you were on
when
this podcast first.
Yes.
Yes.
start your sources, people. So when I think of loving myself, for those that don't know, I was bullied a lot, and by the time I got to high school, I graduated in class 2009. Disclaimer: I'm class of 2009, not 2001. If you know, you know. Anywho, so
Oh,
so when I had
now we know.
when a group of girls was being some hating ass hoes, I noticed the pattern, and I'm like, I'm putting up with this shit this go around. So I found the table where there was nobody, and I sat by myself for 4 days. The first day, and they was like, "Oh, she's sitting by herself." The second day, same thing. The third day, the fourth day, I literally said, "God, I don't want no one sitting by me until it's someone that's cool and sweet." So the fourth day, one of my class was like, "How come you not sitting with us?" And I was like, because y'all are being disrespectful. And I was having a very hard time with defending myself, but I basically looked with my little innocent eyes like, I'm not, I'm not gonna sit with a bunch of I'm not gonna sit with a bunch of people who don't like me. If you don't like me, that's your problem, not mine. And I went back and ate my food and pretended like she wasn't there. And she got the she got the clue to walk the fuck away. So then when Hurricane Katrina hit, that's when I met my friend Marianne, still my friend to this day. And we sat and we had ourselves a good little time. And then I had my own little friend group and we all had that table. And even when I was in my 20s, I took myself out on a date. Since no guy didn't want to do it, I said, fine, I'm taking myself out. So I would take myself out to Cheddar's, to Papados. That's all we listen. That was all we had in Beaumont. They had Outback, but I didn't like Outback. I took myself to Texas Roadhouse because I love the rolls. I took myself out to Chili's and Applebee's because the food was busting.
Okay,
So
while we're standing,
look, so when I
Sponsors, you hit me up for sponsorships, y'all.
I was gonna say a restaurant that like I went to as a recovery from codependency was Popeyes. So she just listed all these things. I'm like Popeyes. Oh,
see, I didn't do Popeyes, but
Recovery chicken.
yeah.
well,
Recovery.
no,
So
this ties into New Orleans, but I lived in a place that had never heard of Mardi Gras and how. So anyway, see,
for me.
exactly. And
Mhm.
Popeyes had heard of Mardi Gras, and I was like, oh my God, this is my home, and I'm just gonna stay in this Popeyes and never leave it.
I was born in New Orleans.
I
I was
mean,
born in New Orleans, so the idea of people not knowing what Mardi Gras is
Yeah,
just
that's crazy
sacrilegious
to
to
I,
me.
me.
It's
I
blasphemy.
I will not say where I was born, but I'll say South Alabama and close to Bayou La Batre of Forrest Gump fame. Like closer to that than anywhere else. Like,
I don't mean to cut into y'all here, but Hurricane Alicia in the house. What's
I
That's
see
up?
that,
literally what I was
Alicia.
saying.
How you
Alicia.
feeling, girl?
Hey, I am rough around the edges, but
Oh,
I needed to pop in because
The floor is all
I'm listening to
yours.
this podcast and I'm like, I'm missing the fun.
Well, the floor is all yours. Ask whatever you want or say whatever you want.
Whew. Um, yeah, to be honest, Abby, you were one of the guests that I was the most looking forward to, and partially for self reasons because I'm in that place in my life right now. So, it's like it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of in a position right now where I'm dating myself because I am coming out of a very tumultuous relationship. And I just decided, hey, I don't want to take any of this baggage into anything else. And I've spent so long dedicating to, you know, another person that I really want to get to know myself. So yeah, it just I think a lot of the things that I would want to know, everybody else pretty much hit on. And I just want you to know that yeah, as soon as that pre-order hits, oh girl, I am I'm on it. I'm on it. Count on me. I'm buying the book. I cannot wait to read it. I wish you the best of success with that. And yeah, I'll be letting everyone I know you have to get this book.
Alicia, one thing that you have said to me in our own private conversations here is that one of the reasons you're taking time for yourself is because not only because you want to heal yourself, but because also that you are keeping yourself from hurting other people along the way. And I think that's important to remember here too. We're not just healing ourselves, we're also protecting future good relationships, maybe even if they happen to
Hmm.
come along.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, that was one of the things that I considered was that you know, I've been through quite a few toxic relationships. I also got into that cycle and I'm just starting to, I guess, unravel and piece together where I stood in all that and how I contributed to it. Um, I apologize, my voice is not quite here. Um, but yeah, it just like just the fact that I haven't fully recognized every every part that I contributed, or maybe red flags that I intentionally or unintentionally, like ignored, or just, oh, that's a pink flag. Like, no, that was a red flag. And you ignored it. You ignored it. Why is that? So I'm like, I'm starting to piece all of that together. And yeah, I'm just realizing, okay, let's say it's not my picker that's broken. And I actually, do get into a relationship with somebody who has the capacity for a healthy relationship. Am I going to come to the floor in that same healthy capacity based on what I've already been through if I haven't already unraveled it, and figured it out? And if I haven't figured out what it is that I want, is that relationship going to really be, something that I'm going to enjoy? It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So that's something that I'm taking into consideration too. Like, I don't want to take any of this baggage into another relationship. I would really like to have it all worked out, and I would like to feel whole as a person myself, before I tried to get into a relationship with someone else,
I mean, and the
feel
things
secure and safe in myself, so I don't depend on somebody else for that.
and the thing of it is, by the time you find that wholeness of yourself, maybe you're good. Maybe you don't have to have somebody else in your life at that point. Like you've said that before. I don't know, Abby, have you thought, I mean, I don't mean to be nosy, but here I am. Here I'm being a nosy bitch. How has this influenced after your year of dating? How has this influenced your attitude towards dating? Or is there anybody that you have dated or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I relate so much to the like, I cannot be bringing this baggage into whatever next relationship I'm in, because I always think of that saying of, heal from your wounds or you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you. And
Mm,
likewise, one of the things that I had to really contend with is, my the relationship that tipped the scales for me. I came into it almost, still with that baggage. It still was like almost like, and you're going to be the Prince Charming who makes it all go away. But instead it got weaponized against me, like with you and all of your trauma. It's just your insecurity talking. And, it became a tool to kind of keep me in place. And so that also was a place of like, I don't ever want, like, I need to heal from this. I need to figure out, like, Liz, what red flags was I dismissing? What pink flags was I dismissing? What was my role? Not blaming myself for anything that happened, but what also was like, what was I bringing to the table that could keep me in this orbit? And that definitely, now that I'm in that kind of like, technically, the year finished, and I still was in this place of, like, no, I'm staying solo. For me, the idea of actively dating, I don't think I ever want to do, because I realized that even in a good place, like in a good mentally sound place, if you're actively dating, it's almost becomes like a job interview where, like a company's trying to interview for this particular position. And if you don't find the candidate that will be the right candidate for that position, you might actually start kind of chipping away at, well, you know what, the candidate doesn't need this kind of degree and they don't need this many years of experience. And, you start to compromise because now it's like, I got to find someone to fill that position. And I don't ever want to slide back into that. And if anything, I very not very yeah very briefly just some kismet happened last year where there was a short-term relationship. It was a very wonderful one. It was a very healthy one. The guy was the sweetest human being in the world. It was just the stars aligned. We'd been friends for like 8+ years. And it didn't work out, if only because he was not going to be staying in New Hampshire for long. But it was it's still a very like, as I see it, and I'm woo-woo, the universe brought him into my orbit to be reminded like, hey, there's some good folk out there. There's some good dudes, some good romantic experiences. But it was really nice to be in a situation where it's like, we have this, dynamic where I'm definitely still my own person and I'm not like, you need to solve all of my past relationship traumas. Um, and yeah, and when it was like, hey, I'm heading for the West Coast soon, and I can't have this continue on knowing full well that in 6 months' time I'm, scramming. It was like, you know what, that's actually really smart. Like, let's, let's go back to being friends, which somehow we transitioned very well to that, or back to that. And yeah, it was like, instead of just being like, oh, this is one more heartbreak, it was, I don't know, it was cool to get to have that little micro taste, if you will, of what it would be like. And if anything, it also then made me very happy to be like, yeah, and I also really like being single because like I get the best sleep of my life when I'm alone in my bed. I do not get good sleep when I'm sharing a bed with anybody else.
Oh gosh, that's true.
Yes,
Um,
Matt.
yeah, wow. I mean, just
Yeah.
like when you put it that way though, it does make
Get
it
a
it
sleep number
makes
bed. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sponsorship.
sometimes, sometimes it's good to have cake every once in a while, but sometimes if you have cake every day, it gets a little bit much, right? So, I mean, I feel like with what you're saying, it also makes it easier to, and this is what men hate, right? Men hate it when they're disposable, but it makes it easier for you to go into these relationships, get the juice out of the squeeze, and then go on with life, right?
Well, well, some of these guys act like women are disposable. They just don't like when we do that same thing. My ex used to always act like he had all the hoes, and I'm like, baby,
Not the
I'm
hoe.
like, I guarantee you, I got more game than you.
Always. I know you do.
Listen, listen. I literally said I can pull 10 men in a week if I wanted to. Don't even have to sleep with them. I could be in a relationship right now if I don't want to, but no, I'm still very much grieving this 28 friendship and decided to, get in a relationship with him because he told me how he felt and there was obviously chemistry. And what does he do? Rip my poor heart to pieces. So right now, I'm basically crying in 3 to 4 to 5 star restaurants eating lobster.
I'm I'm actually a little curious about the codependency part. So because you said something about he broke your heart, and I can remember. I don't really want this to turn into like let's talk about exes, but um, I, there was an ex, and like I'm not even gonna go into that relationship, but I will say that the summer it ended was difficult. My sister brought me a dozen Boston cream donuts. Like she's just like, here you go. You need help. Like, and
That's awesome.
and I kind of looked at broken heart syndrome. I was like, this is not healthy. Like, what is going on? And I wound up in a 12 step for codependency. Um, because I think, I don't know, I think because we talked a little bit about like the people, I would say women, but I think it's people who don't like know their favorite color or don't know what kind of eggs they like. And I think it's I mean, hey, maybe they don't know, but I also think there's a societal norm. Like maybe they do know, but they're so used to discounting it and like never speaking up. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Used
I
to
don't know if that made sense, but
fading into the wallpaper, right? I
yeah,
mean, you know, and that's something that sort of is trained into women, I think, in the
yeah.
society. It's you're supposed to be, especially if you're from a fundamentalist background like me and Lisa, and I'm sure some of the rest of us are
It is
Evey,
okay to take
yeah,
up space.
yeah. We're taught that women are not to take up space. We're to be his helpmeet. We're to be, you know, his assistant in life. We're supposed to be behind every great man. And fuck that too.
All
Fuck
I can
all of
say is
that.
at some point I was told I had to cook
As a
for
preacher's
men.
kid.
And if I had to cook for
Yes,
somebody, let
same.
me tell you, that would not last very
Uh,
long.
how many preachers
Look,
kids do we have in here? I got Morgan, me,
Not,
Evie.
I
Good
was
God.
Catholic. We don't have, our preachers don't have kids.
Yeah. Oh, right. Supposedly. Sim, you're muted, babe. What'd you say?
I was saying sometimes it's trauma too, it's just, maybe we've been through something in our lives, whether as children or early adults or whatnot. And over that time, when we talked about like earlier, like taking up less space, we kind of it's not one specific thing. It's over a period of time. We just become smaller and smaller until we don't realize we're doing it, and
Yeah.
that's where the line between like, it being independent in a relationship and codependency can really come crashing very quickly.
Mhm.
Without us, it's not a conscious necessarily a decision. It just one day we realize, we don't really have our own kind of identity outside of that person, or, we don't.
I think it's interesting. Sorry, I'm cutting
Oh,
literally in
no,
the
you're
middle of
fine.
that,
Go ahead.
but it's interesting that you mentioned that because I, without getting too far into the weeds, I do remember like not wanting to be a victim or I mean or a survivor, but we'll go with the victim of domestic violence. And I feel like you can end up walking on a lot of eggshells, to not be in that
Mm.
situation.
Oh, absolutely. And there's the thing is with domestic violence and a lot of different things with even just emotional and
Yeah,
verbal
doesn't have to.
abuse. Um, I think there's such a component to it that affects your self-esteem. It's psychological warfare. There's so many steps to it that it's hard to see it coming. Oftentimes when you're talking about a DV relationship, they start off really nice and then you have the love
Mhm.
bombing and all of those things. And but then there's the isolating you from your friends or family over time. And there's all those kinds of things. And then there's the verbal manipulation. Who else is going to put up with your crap? I'm the only one that could ever care for you, so but by the time something physical even starts, you're already worn down to the point where you're
Mm.
like, do I deserve this? And kind of like, mentally telling yourself these things. So you kind of accept it more because all of those psychological things have worn you down. And so that can turn you
Mm.
codependent very quickly because you don't know who you are outside of that person, but you also feel like no one else would have you. So what would be the point? Because you truly don't think that you have the strength or the ability to be on your own.
You
So
do.
I think
You have the
It's
strength and you
interesting.
have the ability.
right.
Right. But it's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that because when I think about that, I think about I don't know if y'all are into Bridgerton or Queen Charlotte, but I am. But Lady Danbury, when her husband
Yeah.
died, and it was one of those arranged marriages, and she was very young, and he was very much older, and it was basically an agreement to be married by this individual. And they made that arrangement when she was 2 years old. So they trained her all of her life to basically like the things he like the foods that he likes. His favorite color is gold, sure, so your favorite color is gold.
Mhm.
He enjoys port wine, so you too will enjoy port wine. Even up until he passed away, she did not like port wine, but she was drinking port wine, and she basically was like, "All I know is him."
Mhm.
That is all I know. And so she had to find out who she was outside of her husband. She stopped wearing all them gold dresses. She started wearing different colors on what made her look good. There was an individual, the queen's brother, as a matter of fact, who was interested in her. And she had already had 4 kids. She wasn't trying to have more. And so he's talking about, uh, at that point, her inheritance and her position is in danger because her husband basically lied about how much money he actually did have. So, long story short, she's in this predicament. She's like, I'm going to have to marry someone wealthy to take care of myself and my children. But when that dude started talking about, having more heirs, he was like, I'll raise your kids as they're my own, but I'm going to need more heirs. And he was like, yeah, like, she's like, more children, how many? He's like, oh, maybe 2 or 3, and da, da, da. And she's just like, no, I can't marry you.
Not a
I
chance in
wouldn't
hell.
be married at all. I just cannot. Can't
Right.
do it. And honestly, I don't blame her. Because again, when you're groomed to be with someone, one, he's cold, he is selfish. All he viewed women were to be there for sex and to have kids.
I remember when I first met you, Abby, one of the things that we bonded about and talked about was a mutual of ours who you were dating at the time, who actually also happens to be a very popular TikToker to this day. I still come across his videos and it's the same fucking video every fucking time because
Beat him up.
he's the nice guy.
Can
He's
we
the
beat him up?
nice guy. He's the dork. He's the geek.
Can we
He's
beat
the
him up?
lovable. Listen, I'll tell you later because I don't
Who
know
do
if
we
he's
fight
still
though?
threatening to have legal things
Easy.
done.
Oh
But
shit.
listen,
Easy.
but the person that you were
Okay.
dating, we talked at great length about and how he treated you. And I feel like he was probably one of the ones that led directly into this year of dating yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah.
was actually leaving that relationship, that and the fallout from that. Because that was a situation where I definitely looked back on and was like, there were signs from the jump that I shouldn't have even gotten into this relationship. And there were signs, about 3 months before I finally left where it's like, that's when I should have gone. And instead, here I am just circling and cycling, and it was tough. And I think a part of it was, that there was that parasocial bond with me, with him, but beforehand, because I saw him as the lovable goof and the dork, and oh, he's such a sweet guy, he's such a nice guy. And when behavior was telling me otherwise, it was like, well, but no, 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 I know this, he's this one. And you know,
Right.
yeah, that definitely did a number on me.
Mm.
I mean, and that's where I get so frustrated with other men who are like, well, why didn't you just pick better? Like, it's no, looking at this guy, he
Mhm.
was from all external appearances was the kind of guy you should pick. Like this sweet, gentle, amazing person who behind closed doors and when he thinks nobody's listening is gonna curse and swear at you for something that you did
Mhm.
wrong, quote unquote. And then yeah, I can see how something like that would build into a year of just wanting to establish yourself, just wanting to be with yourself. As I've told one of my friends who's going through divorce right now, they've got a new house and I'm like, you know what the best feature of that fucking house is? It doesn't have an asshole in it. And
Girl.
yeah,
Girl.
it's like, I mean, whatever else the house does or doesn't come with, it doesn't come with an asshole.
Girl.
So it's just Evie, you're killing me over here. Having
There's
sorry.
no
Gosh.
way.
When do we fight?
There's no
But I mean that's what the year of living single sounds like. Or year of
way.
living single. Fuck me. I cannot say the
Year of
year
dating
of
myself.
dating myself. Jesus fucking
Girl,
Christ. I am so sorry. I'm gonna edit this out in the Spotify. Um,
fish for
Mhm.
but
life.
that's what that sounds like to me, though, is the absence of an asshole. Like the absence of a
Oh,
soul-sucking drain on your life that's demanding your every bit of attention, that's demanding every bit of your emotional labor. It's demanding all of your time and not allowing you to be yourself.
Here.
So, however that looks, whether it looks like dating or whether it looks like going out to Olive Garden or going out to Popeyes or going out to a Guster
Mardi Gras
concert or
forever, man.
whatever. I mean,
Oxtails, Steak 48, Willie G's, the
girl.
Galleria,
Ruth Chris,
Cheesesteak Factory, a Cheesecake Factory.
Morton's.
I'm dead,
I
y'all.
Go
whether
sell
it's just,
some lobsters, ladies. Spend that
where
$100 and
The
$200 on your
sun.
I mean, just
There's
sugar
no way, bro.
door dashing something from the pub and having it at your fucking couch with the movie that you want to watch on.
Want to
That
watch?
too.
Hmm. I think I'm coming around more to Evie's dying alone scenario at this point.
I,
Bro, I'm telling you, I'm on to something like that
as
shit's
someone,
gonna be nice.
as somebody who doesn't want to do that, but has absolutely understands that because I've been there. Like, because I kept getting told like you're gonna die alone. I was like, yeah, that's the plan. Like there's not. I want to say like, yeah, there's not bullshit that way, frankly.
Well,
But
the fact of the matter is none of us
but
are
I
going
would
to
I
die
would
alone.
say that dating culture generally changes with age, and people
Mm,
don't tend to address that either. Like if we are in our, I'm in my late 30s. Some people are, we'll just say late 30s.
okay.
um,
Ma'am.
but if we're because I think a lot of like dating when you're, 17, 20, 23 is like, Twitter pated Twitterness or whatever, like, and that's not real life and that's not real love. I mean, I
No,
shouldn't say
it's
it's not
not.
real love. There's different kinds of love, but like that's not sustaining love. That's not something that's like, oh, this has been years and this person has my back and they're my ride or die and like, but not in a codependent way. Like that, like those are different kinds of love. And I don't know what's going on or why people are laughing.
I don't know, but something's plugged up right now.
Okay. Well, anyway, I guess I decided like, I don't know. I definitely don't think people should just do it to do it. Like I think that's somehow mind blowing, but I don't
You're
think
fine,
that.
Lisa. We're gonna talk about flowers.
Why are we talking about
I
flowers?
don't know. I thought we were talking about the good
It,
old.
it's among the same subject. I just added the flower in there.
What is your favorite flower?
Cannot
I
breathe.
just
So I have a question for Abby. To go back to the book. So we've talked about like a lot of maybe like the benefits, right? Of
Hmm.
of dating ourselves for a year and getting to know ourselves. We talked about all the awesome things. What was maybe something that you found challenging, that maybe was
It's a
unexpected,
good question. Yeah.
while you did that?
I think, I mean, the biggest one was the lack of touch, which also then gave
Hmm.
me some really interesting insight into how I was going about my relationships. Because, I am a very tactile person, like, even if it's just holding hands or just, being really close to each other or spooning or, just I love touch. And that was like out of my world. And I remember having this moment actually when I started going to PT because I was having an issue with my neck. And here's the person, like assessing me. And as they're touching like my neck and my arm, and I'm just like, man, I think this is the first time somebody has physically touched me in like over a week, and just it gave me a real moment of pause. Um, but it also, I had this moment of realizing, okay, I am a very tactile person, but it wasn't like these people that I was dating would be doting on me and holding my hands or, playing with my hair. I would be doting on them and like, oh, let me rub your back. Let me do things for you. And
Mm,
I'm kind of getting my touch out of that, but it still was not directed towards me. And in some ways that also helped when there was, because that longing would be there, and I would just be like, oh, I really, that I miss that feeling, that in some ways that realize that the thing that's not really love, it's more that limerence, it's that infatuation. um but also then having this moment of like, yeah, but you would basically put that onto a person before you ever knew them, so that longing for, just vaguely, for that romantic feeling again, that's no different than longing for a projection of a person before you've gotten to know them.
right. I'm a very touch-oriented person too, and yeah, it's hard to go without that when you're used to it. Like,
No.
no, I
Oh,
mean, really hard. But there's,
physical touch is my love language.
yeah, and it's for me, it's really hard as a trans woman because I haven't before in the before times, I
Hmm.
was the holder, I was the big spoon, and now as my actualized self, I want to be somebody's fucking little spoon. Like I want to be. I have very rarely gotten the chance to be the little spoon to have somebody cradle me and be like, "Hey, princess, it's gonna be okay," or
Oh,
stuff like that. And that is something that I look forward to someday with the right
yeah.
person.
Besides,
But
the flower can only do so much.
right. Oh, we finally caught on what the rose is. Yes,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Abby just got it.
We're
Yes,
there.
we just choked up the guest. We have
That's why I was
accomplished.
dying.
Goals.
Yes.
Uh,
No, but like I feel that, Sheila, like I feel like certain women we tend to be, more dominant. So it's nice, like it would be nice to once in a blue be the one that's taken care of instead of being the
Yes.
person that takes care, right?
Mhm.
Where the caregiver, it's nice to feel it sometimes. So I feel what you're saying, Sheila. Like I think that first of all, being vulnerable and being allowed to be vulnerable are two different things. Like you might want that
Totally.
vulnerability, but if you're not given the space for it, then it's not going to happen. But
Yes.
Morgan's dying because she's
Yeah,
ah,
Stuck up on these
just
she's
flowers
over
thing.
there
for
crying
everybody out there
like
in YouTube land and in Spotify and Apple
y'all
World and on
chat,
GCPR,
Just
chat,
we have an
sometimes you can take
internal
care of yourself. That's the
chat. There
flower
yes,
was
thing.
we have an internal chat and we have been talking about sex toys in the internal chat. And that's this is
chat.
where what it
I
boils
had
down
a
to.
feeling. I was like,
The
she's talking about the rose in the
The
Bible, and
rose
I'm
has
like,
an
is this
honorable
is this
mention
that
according to the
rose?
chat, that
Yes.
rose.
Sponsors.
That rose, Abby. And it was no, but we have to tell everybody like when Abby caught on to what we were saying, like it was actually really funny because I happened to look right at you at that moment and I saw your face literally like I just saw you lose it. And then I saw the comment in the chat and I died. And then Morgan fell to pieces. That was when you saw Morgan literally fold her ass over and die laughing. That was why. Because she realized, look at her, because she realized that Abby was like, oh, that's the rose you have plugged in. Okay, Morgan, I see you. And she died.
Yes.
You're welcome. I gave everybody a play-by-play of the chat. You see, you don't usually get that. You're welcome.
This is all the BTS for this show. Yes. Yes,
Behind the
indeed.
scenes.
All the
Literally,
BTS.
I'm dead.
I
Oh
got a
my
Abby,
question.
God.
The
really
rose
quickly.
got a
Oh,
mention.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Miss Honorable Mention with your rose. Go ahead, Morgan.
Look, the book said, loving myself, so the rose gets a mention. It's in the
You better.
Oh, dear.
Oh
Ain't
my
Abby.
God.
no way.
full credit for
If you're
that.
listening to this on Spotify, go back and watch the YouTube replay because you
Oh,
have to see these
Jesus
bitches over here,
Christ.
honestly.
I'm dead. I'm dead, y'all.
I
It's
mean,
too
Evie's
much.
been Snoop Dogged out for a minute here,
You
but
know what? I'm usually Snoop Dogged out. Like, let's be for fucking real. This is what you get.
I love
You're
it.
welcome.
We're all of our secrets are all on the table here. Everything is
I don't
made
never
known
deny that. I would never ever lie about that. But
about that.
Abby,
About that.
very
I
quickly,
love that.
I'll lie my ass off about something else. Sheila, let me stop. I'm just kidding. I actually don't know how to, I'm a really bad liar because I'm an Aquarius. So I just tell you what it is, even when I don't like it. I'm sorry.
I'm a
But
Taurus. I
Abby,
just say the same thing repeatedly.
oh no. I have, that's hilarious. We'll talk later. Um, Abby, I wanted to very quickly, just because I know that
Please.
we've been talking about the book that's coming out, but I'm, as you can see behind me, a fantasy fiction giant nerd, right? So I saw that you write some fiction as well. Tell me about your fiction. Tell me about your book that's fiction that's already out. Let's talk.
Yes. So yes, I have actually an assortment of various books out, including three books of fiction. The one that I'm the most proud of is The Ballerina in the Boxing Ring.
That one.
Oh no, that is the I time travel there. That is the original like beta read title. It's The Ballerina's Guide to Boxing. Oh my God. So
Yes.
that's the actual title, not that's the manuscript title. For some reason, that's the one I remember. But The Ballerina's Guide to Boxing is about a 16-year-old girl who's basically on the fast track to becoming a professional ballerina. But after one of her friends and fellow dancers dies in a car crash, she
Mm,
just up and quits. And, her family's kind of shunning her, especially her mom, who's a bit of a dance mom, is shunning her for that. And she's, kind of lost a little adrift. She stumbles upon a boxing gym. She starts secretly going there, and the whole story is this summer of her basically learning to become, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like the year of dating myself. She learns to become her own person and to learn about how she can be emotionally strong as well as physically strong. So that's one I'm the most proud of. I have a collection of short stories that I'm also incredibly proud of called The Secret to a Happy Marriage, and the sheer volume of people who think that is a how-to guide on marriage. And it's like, y'all, no, I'm divorced. Like this is not a secret. It's tongue in cheek. The story that the title is from is like that marriage is not a happy marriage. It's a tongue in cheek. Like, let me tell you the secret to a happy marriage. But it's a collection of short stories. And it plays with those like subtle sad realities of life, which includes
mm.
unhappy marriages and, unhappy families in general. So those are the two ones that I'm the most proud of. The other ones that I'm making it sound like I'm ashamed of the other two, but the other two that I still love, they're just earlier in my writing career. So I look back on them now and I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't write my book this way if I had, if I wrote it now, but I also wrote those books 10 years ago, so obviously. But there's Chick Lit and Other Formulas for
Yes, I
Life,
saw that. Yeah.
which is, kind of just playing on, she's a girl who works at a bookstore and she is always, she's a little bit of the not like other girls. And this is, a product of its time, the early 2010s. Uh, and she kind of rags on chick lit and what have you, but her life also starts playing out like a chick lit, like chick literature. And the other one is called In the Event the Flower Girl Explodes, which is
Yep.
just it's a kind of a dark comedy. The main character's big brother is getting married to this really eccentric woman, and it's just the wedding of the century basically, and she's trying to survive that. So those are the fiction books. I also gonna give a quick shout out to my uh most recent collection of poetry called Venom, which
Mm,
uh I am genuinely proud of that one because I wrote it uh in the years following a sexual assault that had happened
mm,
and felt like I could never talk about it. And
mm.
I was also part of a church that was very big on, well, you got to forgive, you got to forgive. So throughout the book is my essentially my meditations on forgiveness, especially the idea of trying to forgive someone who caused so much pain in my life. So I'm very, very proud of that book, that collection as well.
I'm
Mm.
glad you brought these up. Where can we go and give you money for paper with words on it? How where can we
For
go and buy
paper
your
with
stuff?
words on it.
Yes.
So the best way, the most direct way, and I know we hate Bezos, but when you're especially an indie writer and
Amazon.
all of those ones that I mentioned are independently published, but on Amazon, oh, sorry
No
for
worries.
coughing while my mic was still on. This cold is just not going away anytime soon. Uh, Amazon is the best place. It is where I get the biggest cut of the payment, if you will. They're all on Amazon. They're all like, Prime shipping and all that stuff. They're all print on demand, so I don't have to worry about doing any work and rushing off to the post office or anything like that.
Awesome. Well,
Sounds fantastic.
we're getting up close to the top of the hour where we will end, so I'm gonna have to land this plane here. It's
Wait,
been
but
an
real
amazing
quick,
flight. But yes, Evie.
Abby, one of the companies I own is a publishing and media. So if you ever want to chat,
Ooh, yes, I'm here for this.
Yes.
but I do want to just say, just to, like what she just talked about, indie authors. Let's support indie authors because
Hmm.
just like we support indie musicians, as somebody who writes both books as well as music, we support indie. All right. There's
Yeah,
something
we
to be
do.
said about being self-published. There's something to be said about some of these platforms that allow for indie publishers to be able to self-publish, right? Yes, Bezos, whatever, like we get it. They're not always great, and they sometimes will go after certain indie authors and take them off Kindle Unlimited. We know that happens. However, we have to support them. So one of the things that I would encourage everybody to do is to go follow her, not just in Amazon, but everything that's owned by Amazon. So Goodreads, Kindle, all of the above. Go follow her as an author because then that's going to help her as well. So everybody just hop over and follow her over on those channels as well as whatever else we're going to put up, which I'm sure
Do you have
Sheila
a
will take
website?
care of. But yeah.
I don't have a website, but it feels really reassuring to be reminded of these channels because while I am off social media for the foreseeable future, I don't know if I'm ever going to return, but I am still on Amazon. I am still on
Right.
Goodreads. I'm still
Yeah.
on Kindle. Still on Audible. Two of my books are available as Audible books. Um,
I actually just got one of those on Audible and was listening to it. And so that being said, is there any chance that we could see your upcoming book narrated by you though,
Mm.
instead of someone else?
That the hope is for that. I've been told, especially when I go into my yoga teacher voice, that I have a very good narration voice. It usually is not this shaky. It is, yeah, this cold is just laying claim to my lungs and vocal cords right now. But my fingers are crossed that when it becomes time to get the audiobook up and out, that I can be the narrator for it.
That
That
would
would
be
be
awesome.
amazing. Well, I do have, like I
Yes.
said, I do have to land this plane
Land the
because
plane, baby.
Okay.
Go ahead, mama. Go
Landing
ahead.
we do have a hard stop with the show that's following up after us on
women
GCPR.
pilots.
So we are, yes, women pilots, yes. We will be followed up here on this show by Conversations with T. Nathan on GCPR.
Mhm.
We will be followed up with Absolute Nothing on YouTube because it's my fucking channel. And this will be up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts before midnight tonight. So if you need something to fall asleep to later on tonight, go download the podcast. And just in closing, it's been a long time coming, you and I sitting down like this, and especially with all of my best friends here with me, and I am so glad that we finally got this chance to do it, and we need to do it again closer to the time of the
Yes,
book release, I think.
very much
um
so.
I'm very glad that you agreed to sit down and talk with us today, and it's been frankly my privilege being your friend these last couple of years, and I'm glad to say that we still are. So and
As am I.
drama be damned. Yeah.
Amen.
We hang with we roll with our friends and we stick with our girls. So
Mm.
um we again, this is Hurricane Girls. I do have to go ahead and wrap it up now. So for myself, for Lisa, for Cimarron, Evie, Alicia, Morgan and Abby. Just want to say have a great night. Chin up, tits out, ladies. Have a good
Tits
night.
out, babies. Have a good
Bye
night.
bye.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you. Be encouraged.
We are clear on GCPR. We are clear on
Yay.
YouTube.
That was fun, ladies. Thank you.